Bentley, Kansas is a town of 581 people, and right now, some of its residents are asking a serious question. Is their police chief using his authority appropriately? Over this past month, multiple people have come forward with allegations involving police chief and city administrator James "Tim" Bryan. Tonight, we're putting these stories together in one place. This is not one incident. This is a pattern people say they've experienced across years and across states. The story started with Joseph Sublette. Joseph says he was followed across Wichita by Tim Bryan, off-duty, in an unmarked vehicle. He said he didn't know who was pursuing him or why. He says he believed he was protecting his family by trying to get away.
I was actually headed home from my son's last senior football game. It was the last game of his senior year.
And where was that held at?
It was at Derby High School. Well, I was already almost home. I live in northwest Wichita, and I was getting off at 235 onto Central.
Okay.
I noticed the Escalade behind me, but when we got to Central is when he started getting real close and driving erratic. I had my kid and my wife and my mother in the truck with me. I was worried about what was in that Escalade. I didn't know how many people were in there. I didn't know what was going to get out of it if I did stop.
Did you know why he was upset?
I had no idea who it was or why they were following me. After about 10, 11 minutes doing U-turns, running red lights, I mean, we were over 100 miles per hour multiple times.
So there were no lights, no markings?
I had no idea it was law enforcement in that truck chasing me.
Was it daytime or
It was
night?
dark.
It was dark at night?
Yeah, it was dark.
Right, so did you eventually lose him?
I did. And I went home and I parked my vehicle, had my family stay in the truck, and I went in my house to get my dog and a flashlight. I come outside and that Escalade pulled up in front of my house. I shined my light at the truck. That's when I noticed that the driver was wearing a badge and a police uniform, a black police uniform. He told me that I cut him off, and that's why he was chasing me. I think about 60 seconds into it, KHP, Kansas Highway Patrol, pulled up first. The trooper got out of the car and ran up there, taser drawn, pointed at my face, and Chief Bryan grabbed my wife by the throat and pushed her back, and they turned
By the throat?
By the throat, and they told him to stay back, and they turned around and Chief Bryan kicked my left knee to where I fell to the ground.
I ain't going nowhere till you give me a sergeant, man. Look, you guys need to get off of me, man. You're ripping my stop.
He chased us.
Joseph says Bryan later appeared at his home and arrested him. And then something unusual happened. The arrest was reversed after Joseph experienced a medical emergency. Despite that, Joseph still received a suspended license with paperwork signed by Bryan. After Joseph's story aired, 6 additional people have come forward describing what they say were encounters with Tim Bryan. Their stories were separate, their circumstances were different, but the concerns sounded familiar. One of them was Eric Toller, a Bentley resident and a former Bentley city employee. He's currently being sued by the city. Toller also says Bryan brushed his arm with his fingers and then treated the contact as if it was an assault on a police officer.
As he reached back, his arm came off of his armrest on the door, and my hands were up on the window seal.
Right.
As I was talking to him, and his arm brushed my fingertips, and he hopped out of the vehicle immediately. "Oh, you can't touch me." And then he indicated that I needed to turn around so he can arrest me. But whenever he had left, he had 3 officers come back to my residence with complaints, one being assaulting an LEO.
That case is still ongoing. Christine Esslinger says she was pulled into what she describes as a Facebook Marketplace sting operation. She says Bryan was trying to locate her boyfriend. When she couldn't provide his location, she says she was held at gunpoint and threatened with arrest. She says she was then left miles from home without gas.
Our hazards are on. I said, don't worry, they're here to help us.
Were they there to help you?
No, or anything happens. They said, Christine Esslinger, get your effing hands up.
Did you have any warrants for your arrest at the time?
No, I don't. No, absolutely not.
Do you have a criminal record or anything?
No warrants, a clean criminal record. Like, I don't have anything on my record at all.
So who was it?
Oh, yeah, Tim Bryan.
That was the officer there?
Yes. The only reason I am there is because I was catfished and lured and baited into this situation, and now I am stranded and ran out of gas.
They didn't help you with the gas either?
No, not only that. I asked if they could assist, and he refused. I asked if he would contact Highway Patrol, and he told me that I have 2 thumbs, do it yourself.
Ugh.
So I did. So I contacted Highway Patrol, and Highway Patrol eventually showed up.
Okay.
He came back.
Who?
Officer Bryan came back when Highway Patrol showed up and told Highway Patrol, do not assist them.
As more people spoke publicly, the pressure increased. I've received a cease and desist letter from Bryan's attorney. Others who came forward said they received similar letters. Instead of ending the story there, interest has only grown. Another name surfaced, Tom Basehor. He's a retired private investigator in the state of Kansas. Basehor says Bryan interrogated him in the year 2000 while working in Mays. He says the encounter ended with Bryan assaulting him, giving him a concussion. He later sued the city, and the case settled out of court. And by that time, Bryan had already moved on to Alabama.
At the time, I was a licensed state detective, so a private detective in the state of Kansas, and I had been for about 5 years at that point, in June of 2000. At that time, he was the chief of police at Mays, Kansas. We were sitting on a street in Mays waiting for someone to come home. A neighbor come out and asked us what we were doing, and we basically told them we were just waiting for someone, but they called the police. The police arrived. There was an officer, and then there was Timmy Bryan was there too. He was the chief of police there, believe it or not. Anyway, so the officer that was with him was cordial and fine. Chief Bryan went to the driver's side. The officer came to my side. I presented him with my state licensed detective certification card, and it was pretty clear. It was very clear. It was signed by Carla Stovall, who was the attorney general at the time. So I presented that to the officer. I believe he motioned to Timmy on the other side that I was carrying a gun somehow, maybe put his finger up or whatever. And Timmy kind of stormed around to my side of the car, and they took me to the back of the car, and it's very specific. So there were protections in the law to keep the police from encroaching on the work of a detective who's on the opposite side of the same case.
Right.
So there's rules about that, and he followed none of them. And he started to disarm me. He said a couple of times, he said, if you come to my town, you're going to let me know before you come here. And that's totally contrary. It's the opposite of really what the law states. The law states that I can't notify anyone of what I was doing at the time. And the reason is for confidentiality reasons.
Right.
And so I was working on a financial thing, and I'm not to be telling everybody what I'm doing, and that includes the police department. And so I explained to him that I didn't have to contact him, nor would I ever contact him when I was in town. And he just really didn't like that answer. He started berating me. He got super angry, and I de-escalate, and he did not de-escalate. He escalated. And he hit me with a flashlight, and it
Where did he
caused
hit you?
an injury
Where did he hit you at?
in the back of the head.
Bryan later worked in Valley, Alabama as a police chief, then Foley, and then back to Valley again. During that time, there was a federal civil rights lawsuit involving the city and his department which alleged racism, disparate treatment, and explosive behavior on Bryan's part. That case also appears to have settled. Later, After being dismissed from Foley, Bryan sued the city, for slander. That case also appears to have settled. After leaving Alabama, Bryan worked in D.C. for a nonprofit, but then took a pay cut to work at Butler County Community College as a uniformed officer again. It wasn't long before controversy returned at Butler County when a fire in an art kiln brought him onto the scene. The fire did less than $100 in damage, but according to the subsequent lawsuit, Bryan treated it like a crime scene and threatened the art instructor, Roger Matthews, with arrest on numerous charges. According to Matthews' lawsuit, this incident was used to coerce him into an early retirement after decades with the school. By the time the lawsuit was settled, Bryan was in Bentley and Rogers won over $600,000, including attorney's fees. Recently, 2 more people have agreed to go on the record, Brianna Grilliot and Melissa Anderson. Both say they were unlawfully arrested. Both say Bryan refused to return their property, even after courts ordered it to be returned.
My encounter with Tim Bryan was in Mother's Day, 2018. My mother had gone recently through a divorce. Some of the belongings that she had stored were at a friend's house down the road. And so my brothers and my sister and myself, we walked to the storage, got a trellis. We were carrying that back through town. And Tim Bryan pulled up behind us in a cop car, asked us to stop. So we put the trellis down and we stopped. And he was asking what we were doing. We said, well, this trellis belongs to the house that my mom's at, so we're taking it back. And he proceeded to say that it was stolen property. He proceeded to argue with me and my brothers and sister. He gave my younger brother a citation for possession of stolen property. I argued with him the fact that it wasn't stolen property and there was no reason to give my brother a ticket. Tim Bryan stood there and said, let me tell you what I think about your mom. And I said, I don't care what you think about my mom or my family. Like, I don't care. Right. He's like, no, you're going to listen to me. And I was like, I don't have to listen to you. Like, I don't care what you think however you feel about us. I really don't care. We aren't doing anything wrong. And he just continued to say, you're going to listen to me what I have to say about your mom. And I just kept saying, I don't have to listen to you. I continued to say that. I don't know how many times that we went back and forth. And he said, you know what? You're really going to listen to me. He grabbed me and he threw me on, slammed me onto the trunk of the vehicle and continued to say, see, you're going to listen to me and you're not going anywhere. You're going to listen to me. And I was like, I don't have to listen to him. Like, really, you're arresting me for what? Like, why am I being arrested? Because I didn't want to hear what you had to say.
Right.
So when we got to the little tiny Mount Hope City building, he handcuffed me to the wall and made me sit down. And he said, now you're going to listen to what I have to say. And I was just like, no, I'm not listening to you. I don't care what you have to say. Like, I don't care about anything that you have to say. I already knew that they have problems with my mom.
Do you think he let his opinions about your family affect your interaction that day?
Oh, yeah.
What did he end up charging you with?
I have no idea. I was booked with no charge. We were able to get a bondsman to help me get out. And the bondsman told my mom, like, I've never seen anybody booked into jail with no charge. So I ended up having to bond out. I had to pay $1,000 to get out. I never got an answer on what I was charged with.
Last week, I attended the first Bentley City Council meeting. 2 residents spoke publicly, Cody Clark and Kristen Gilpin. They both raised concerns involving Bryan.
On March 27th, I checked my mail and I received a letter dated the 23rd, just 10 days from that conversation, from Mr. Bryan, stating that I would no longer have worked for the season. This came as a complete surprise to me. I went into his office to address the letter, where I explained that I felt blindsided and asked for an explanation. I also asked whether the mayor or city council had been informed. Mr. Bryan responded and said, they don't have to know anything. I do the hiring and I do the firing and I stand behind my decision. I'm sure you know that devastated me. A few days later, I received a second letter dated March 28th, which included accusations that I strongly deny. These claims do not reflect my actions or my character. I have dedicated a great deal of time and effort to this community. both through my work with the city and through involvement in leading the Blue Jay Connection Group and organizing various community activities. So I'm sure you can understand why this situation is both disappointing and difficult for me to understand.
I was approached by the chief of police after he drove onto my property without permission. I told him I did not want him coming onto my property again. At that point, his response escalated. He exited his vehicle, approached mine, stood at my door. He then said, "What are you going to do about it?" I said nothing. I said, "I'm not going to do anything." And he responded, "I'm not the one to start a war with." This concerned me because the situation escalated unnecessarily, and it made me uncomfortable with how that authority was used. After this, I did go to the mayor and raise concerns, but I did not feel my concerns were addressed. These concerns aren't going away, and they deserve to be taken seriously.
Bryan declined to comment after the meeting, but Mayor Tracy Pribenow responded by calling Gilpin a liar, and she told Clark that the council was not obligated to respond to his concerns. The next day, Mayor Pribenow released a statement onto Facebook. She disabled comments. The statement described Bryan's detractors as liars and slanderers, and she suggested their claims should not be trusted because of their criminal histories. Bryan was hired as city administrator shortly after Mayor Pribenow took office. No employment application has been produced in response to a Cora request, so the details of that process remain unclear. Some residents have begun discussing the next steps. One possibility is a recall election. Under Kansas law, that would require signatures from 40% of voters who participated in the last election, along with grounds for removal. Other options include complaints to the Kansas Commission on Peace Officers Standards and Training, also known as CPOST, the Sedgwick County Attorney, or the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. Some residents say they've already tried those routes without resolution. The bottom line is, law enforcement is here to protect public safety, and journalism is here to protect public accountability. And when multiple people across multiple cities and decades describe similar encounters with the same official, those concerns need to be heard. This is not about politics, and it's not about personalities. It's about whether officials entrusted with authority on a town of just 581 people are exercising that authority responsibly. What happens next is up to the city of Bentley. Small towns deserve accountability too. Do you think Tim should be a police officer?
Absolutely not.
Do you think that Chief Bryan should be a police officer?
No, guys like this are the reason you have people that don't like police. And
Everybody says he's a good guy and stuff. He was a good guy to me too until he wasn't.
Right.
When he wasn't,
It's a whole different side, isn't
it
it?
gets kind of spooky.
why can a person like that carry a badge and use it to, I mean, in this incident, he used his badge to settle his own personal road rage incident.